I almost died. Lucy muttered those words while staring at the ruined shelter. What do you mean, you almost died? Ed asked. The world's strongest mage. To whom? Lucy immediately said. Belle Maya. Ed blinked. But she's such a nice person. Apparently, Lucy had skipped class like she always did. But this time Belle Maya had been unusually angry. She started walking toward me with her fist clenched tighter than usual. Lucy shuddered. It looked like it would hurt. Not knowing what else to do, she had escaped using teleportation magic. Then she stared at Ed. So, do you have any more of that jerky? You blew away my entire shelter, you little. Her barrier had disappeared. She had completely run out of mana. Seeing that, Ed finally sighed. Is that right? Then he raised his fist. First, this is for my shelter. And this is for Belle Maya. Ouch. With his home destroyed, Ed came to a simple conclusion. He needed a sturdier house. A proper one. That meant lumber, architectural plans, and a better roof. So he headed to the academy library and spent hours researching. Before he knew it, the library was closing. You study really hard. Ed looked up. A first-year magic department student stood nearby. Elka Island. Oh. Has it gotten that late already? Sorry. That's all right. Seeing someone study as hard as you do makes me want to work harder too. She introduced herself. My name is Elka Island. The way she looked at him made it obvious she wanted an introduction too. Ed. Ed Rothstaler. The reaction came instantly. You're Ed Rothstaler? Ed was already used to it. His terrible reputation wasn't going away anytime soon. Yet Elka surprised him. You're very different from the rumors. You read advanced elemental magic books in just a few days. And today alone you finished 6 difficult books. I heard you were a braggart who didn't know anything. I guess rumors really are unreliable. Then she smiled. I know someone who works as hard as you do. I'll be rooting for you. Ed thanked her and prepared to leave. Then suddenly, rumble. The ground shook. And at that moment, Act 1. The final chapter. The battle against Glassken had begun. Hours later, a temporary command post had been established outside the student halls. Many students had survived only because of Taylor's efforts. A massive barrier now surrounded the academic wing. Ayla quickly explained the situation. A summoning circle had appeared. One meant to summon Glassken, the highest-ranking spirit of darkness. There was only one student capable of such a feat. Yennecar Pale Rover, the top second-year student. Everyone suspected that a powerful dark spirit had taken control of her. If Glassken fully manifested, countless students would die. They needed to act before that happened. Taylor stepped forward. The professors and Imperial guards won't arrive in time. We have to handle this from the inside. Not everyone agreed. Clevius immediately objected. You want us to fight through mid-ranking spirits, spirit beasts, 2 berserk high-ranking spirits, and then defeat Yennecar herself? That's suicide. The room fell silent. Tarkin, the high fire spirit. Velospa, the high dark spirit. Both were already rampaging inside. Even worse, everyone knew how dangerous dark spirits were. They were natural enemies of elementalists. Powerful beings that corrupted and controlled their summoners. Which meant Yennecar was likely being used as nothing more than a vessel. The debate continued. Should they wait until morning? Or act immediately? Ultimately, the decision belonged to one person. Princess Peenia. Everyone waited for her answer. And in that moment, she remembered something Ed had once told her. Whatever burdens I carry cannot be heavier than the weight you carry, princess. Perhaps you should try to take it easy. It was a comforting thought. If only it were possible. After a moment, Peenia finally spoke. We enter the building in 1 hour. However, only Peenia, her knight Claire, the top students of each year, and Class A students would participate. Only those capable enough to survive. I will take full responsibility. The operation began immediately. Students started reporting who were still trapped inside. Audrey Hall was under siege. The magic potion depository was under siege. Then another student suddenly spoke up. I came from the library. There are still 2 people trapped inside. My apprentice librarian friend. And a second-year student. What is your friend's name? Peenia asked. Elka Island. The moment that name was spoken, Zig stood up. Elka. The girl nodded nervously. Why yes. We're both apprentice librarians. Damn it. Ziggs immediately tried to leave. I have to rescue her. Elka can't defend herself. Peenia stopped him. Calm down. We know how important she is to you. But you're one of our strongest fighters. We can't spare you. Another student agreed. Besides, she said there was a second-year student with her. Maybe that person can protect her. Ziggs turned back. What are you hiding? Spit it out. The girl hesitated. Then finally answered. It's Ed Rothstaler. The entire room froze. I'm sorry. That douchebag refused to leave the library after dark. I got annoyed and left Elka there with him. You know what kind of person he is. But Elka never listens to rumors. The room exploded into chaos. Ed Rothstaler? You mean that librarian girl is trapped in there with that lecher? Just the two of them? Oh no. Ziggs looked ready to kill someone. Then, unexpectedly, Peenia spoke. How about we trust him anyway? Everyone turned toward her. Meanwhile, Ziggs clenched his fists. If you dare touch even a single hair on Elka's head, I'll turn you into minced meat. And somewhere inside the library, completely unaware of the death threat waiting for him, Ed Rothstaler was about to have a very long night. The past of Ziggs, the spear from nature, was far from ordinary. The saying a dragon rises from a small stream wasn't enough to describe his story. Born in the harsh northern grasslands of the Empire, Ziggs grew up alone. Before he learned to read, he learned how to hunt. Before he knew how to buy food, he learned how to survive from the wilderness. People feared him. He's one of those barbaric nomads. People muttered. I heard he even eats human flesh. But one day, someone spoke to him. What's your name? Ziggs. You look like a wolf walking on two legs. It was then he realized how lonely he truly was. Elka and her father welcomed him into their home. Slowly, the young wolf learned how to live as a human. And because of that, he would become a beast again if it meant protecting her. Present day. Rushing into the library, Ziggs found Ed Rothstaler. Where's Elka? Reading room 3. The moment Ziggs saw her safe, relief washed over him. Bookshelves had been moved around her as makeshift barricades. The curtains were closed. Messages had been left behind telling her to stay calm and remain hidden until dawn. Someone had protected her. Then Ziggs noticed the blood. Not Elka's. It belonged to the person who had protected her while ignoring his own injuries. Ed Rothstaler. 3 hours earlier, Ed had already figured it out. The summoning circle meant the Glassken subjugation arc had begun. Soon, berserk spirits would swarm the academy. Rather than getting involved with the main characters, Ed stayed in the library and trained. Since Yennecar had summoned countless spirits into physical form, it became the perfect chance to raise his spirit-related skills. His levels rose rapidly. Ignite level 12. Spiritual resonance level 7. Spiritual understanding level 7. Just one more level and he'd be able to form a spirit contract. Unfortunately, he ran out of time. Back in the present, Ziggs looked at the wounded Ed. What were you doing here? Training. Ziggs laughed. But for the first time, he felt like he understood Ed. I owe you a great debt, Ed Rothstaler. Ed shook his head. Go back to the student halls. You shouldn't be here. Go help Taily. Then Ed revealed something shocking. The only one who can damage Tarkin is Taily. With elemental slash. Ziggs froze. He had never even spoken to Taily before. Then it hit Ed. In the original story, Ziggs and Taily became friends during the end-of-semester evaluation. But that event hadn't happened yet. The final chapter had started an entire month early. Which meant Ziggs wasn't friends with Taily. Taily hadn't learned elemental slash. And without that attack, nobody could hurt Tarkin. The story was already falling apart. Student Square, Attack Unit Post. Ziggs returned to the others. Princess Peenia and the attack unit had already attempted to infiltrate the building. They failed. Claire was badly injured. Clevius was wounded. The situation was getting worse. The summoning circle continued to progress. Glassken's arrival was drawing closer. What do we do? Someone asked. There wasn't enough time. Peenia looked at the exhausted group. If they focused only on Tarkin, Glassken would still be summoned. A decision had to be made. Then Ed stepped forward. This was the last thing he wanted. The last thing he had tried to avoid. Getting involved in the story itself. But there was no choice anymore. We'll divide our forces into 2 groups. Everyone turned toward him. Ed took a breath. I will lead one of them. Because whether he liked it or not, he had finally become part of the story. If you enjoyed this recap, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more epic recaps and overpowered stories. You don't want to miss the next one. See you in the next video.